What's up, everyone? Welcome back to What's Warhammer. I'm Gracie Rob, and today I'm going to take it back to basics and do a sort of hobby tutorial video, a follow-up to the first video I ever made about making a magnetized case. And today what I'm going to do is finally fulfill my promise of showing you how to safely and securely put magnets onto the bases of your miniatures. And hope you like the new webcam. As a gift from my wife because she saw how horrible the quality was on the old videos. So yeah, so anyway, to get right into it, I made a video on how to make a magnetized case to save money, basically, right? Because buying them is not cheap, and now I have a Magnarack from Battle Foam, and I love it. And honestly, it is even better. I'm not going to lie, believe it or not, buying a $100 Canadian rack is actually better than to just making one out of a few dollars from Rona or Home Depot or wherever you shop for flashing. So, but having said that, you know, the old method still works. And the thing that was getting a lot of people caught up, because frankly, building the magnetic case is actually easier, I think, than putting the magnets on the bases of the miniatures. Because I had a bunch of friends who that's who I basically made the video for, going, you know, hey, but the magnets are falling off. And I've never had that. And even before when I did it originally, I was using a really good quality super glue. And so I recently rebased some of my Storm Fiends, which is what you see right here. And as you can see, I just cut the oval base, which is what my local store manager recommended that I use back when we didn't know what size bases should be on our miniatures. And I just glued it onto the proper base size, as you see here. So that's why I'm missing the basing, right? But I did magnetize it with my new system, which is better than the old one. The old one was just to super glue them on there. But the issue there was not that it wasn't secure enough, because I was using a really good quality super glue. In fact, when I was cutting off the magnets, which I had to do for the previous bases, honestly, it took me about 2 hours just to get the bases cut off of get the magnets off of the old ones, because they were directly below where their feet were. So I knew I needed to do that, right? And honestly, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And I was trying not to hurt myself because, you know, I'm clipping it off with a pair of clippers. And luckily I had, you know, a nice pair of clippers where they had an angle. So if you are having to do that, these are fantastic for that. But anyway, to get right into it, my method is, there's a couple of different, you know, sort of parts to it. But anyway, a lot of the miniatures have these annoying little bumps on the bottom. So obviously you need to cut those off. So I'm just going to do that live for you and hopefully not injure myself while I'm trying to show this on camera. But this might ricochet off the camera. Nope. Okay. So obviously you want the magnet in the middle, you know, or most people are probably just going to conclude that. But one of the mistakes that I made, because I was doing it on using slotted bases originally, was that I put them kind of near the edge because the slotted base sort of forced me to do that. What I've done since then for slotted bases is, now I did this on a bunch of other ghosts before, but I basically just do the same thing where I just cut them out. And these clippers are really handy for that because the backside is flat, you know, so you can get it down there pretty easy, right? So I'm not going to bother doing all of that today, but I will show you. So if you have one of these things, it actually makes the whole thing a little bit easier. And you're probably wondering yourself, well, how on earth would it be easier to cut something off than to do nothing at all? Well, that's because for the method of that I use is because the thing is you want something for the glue to latch onto. So let's say I'm going to put two magnets on here. I usually just do one because this is a plastic miniature. Sorry, that might not have been in camera. Sorry, usually I put two or let's say I'm going to do two magnets, so I'm gonna like show you like I'm doing two magnets here. But for these plastic minis, I just do one. But I have like the drill team, which I did two, so I did them here because it's a pewter mini and it's kind of heavy. So anyway, if you don't want to just glue them straight onto here. This is one of the reasons why the magnets that I put on are so super secure. Lovely grammar there. Was not getting better, it was only getting worse. So one thing that I'll do is I'll actually use a pin vise tool. Really cheap, very handy tool you can buy at most of your local hobby stores. And I just drill in. And you don't need to go in very far. The idea is that you just have a little bit more of a surface area and a sort of rougher area for the glue to latch onto. And you wouldn't think it would make a difference, but it actually makes a huge difference because these smooth surfaces are just not that great for friction. But another thing you can use is, let's say I'm going over here for the other magnet. Sorry, my camera's probably focusing in and out because I'm all over the place, but you can just take that and you can just sort of spin it and you get like a nice little area. And I don't know if you can see that, but ooh, wow, fancy camera. Now you can probably easily see that the pin vise tool did a better job here. Let's try that again. See, that one did a little bit better of a job than just spinning my scalpel in a circle here. That's partially because, as you can probably see, I'm using an older one because the tip broke off. But if you're worried about it, you can make it like a little X or star or just anything extra for the glue to latch onto will help. And that way, if you're traveling to tournament or something like that, it's just that much more secure if you're using Magnaracks to travel with your minis. So the next thing that we're going to do is I don't just use super glue. I actually use some green stuff. And the reason that I do that is because you're probably thinking for security, and it is more secure. As you can see here, you've got this sort of little volcano or whatever to hold it on. So you've got the surface area all around here, and you've got the surface area that's around the magnet for it to hold on to. And so with the super glue, it just gives it that much more surface area. Sorry, I'm mumbling because I'm doing other stuff at the same time. Anyway, so now I'm just pulling off a little bit of green stuff off camera because it's easier for me. And then, so we got the green stuff, and I'm just going to mix it together on camera so you nice people can have something to look at and not just a screen of partially painted miniatures, because I have such severe hobby ADD. So here we go. And one thing I do, as you can see here, is I got a little Dixie cup. If you're doing a lot of these minis, it actually is a lot faster and easier to mix a bunch of green stuff, ahead of time, and then just put a little water in there. And the water, if you just throw your green stuff in there in between, and the water actually keeps it from setting, and it won't do anything, and it also makes it less sticky, right? So I mixed a little too much, as I always do when I'm doing this, but actually here, let's use this one, because of these holes that I cut, it's a little bit deeper in. So I go way overboard here when I do this, because everything I do in terms of security is, when you go overboard, you don't have to worry about it, right? And I'm a bit of a worrywart. For most minis, I use this size of magnet, the 1x4 by 1/16. It doesn't work out perfectly when you buy them in millimeter. I bought the last few in millimeter because it's so much cheaper to buy to buy from you know, like China or something like that off of eBay, where I'm paying a few cents. But this is the old brand that I got. They're fantastic. They work great. They're basically made for miniatures. But yeah, they work really well. So anyway, here we go. So now what I do is I just kind of hold it upside down. I'm gonna hopefully not get super glue on my mouse when I turn this video off. So I go 2 layers for this, right? I put some super glue down here, put a decent amount on, so you can see that, and then I take the green stuff and I smush it down on top. And the reason I'm wearing gloves is because if you touch super glue with your bare hands, it will start to set because of the oils in your hand, and I think it's just moisture in general. Whereas if you have gloves, you can actually touch the super glue and it won't stick together. So I just put another layer of super glue on top. So I've made like a green stuff sandwich, and then I stick the magnet in the middle here. And if you're only planning one, you know, these little bumps will actually help, right? And so you know, I know it's taken me forever to get back around to the reason, but the reason that I use green stuff is because the most secure, the most secure bond you're going to get, not with the magnet, but with the magnetization between the magnet and your surface, is going to come when the magnet is close to the top. So what I do here, this is going to be really hard to line up, but I hope you bear with me, is I basically just line it up so that the lips are both even, not like that, but like sort of like that, right? And then what you want is you want it so the magnet just barely disappears when they're both even. See that? So this one is slightly high, it looks like. It's really hard to tell by using the camera. Yeah, it's slightly high. So I just push it down slightly, and if it goes too low, you just pinch it and you just bring it back up. So it's right near the surface, and that way the magnet is sticking right to the surface. Let's see if I can kind of show you. So you can see the magnet. Oops, sorry. New camera, autofocus. It's an issue. Okay, come on. There you go. There we go. So you can see the magnet, you can see the magnet, you can see the magnet, and boom. You can't quite see the magnet. Sorry, my head is so shaky when I'm doing it. And I think it's just slightly high. But see, you can just pat it with your finger because you're wearing gloves. It's no issue. Oh, there we go. Come on, Mr. Camera. You can do it. Shimon. There we go. Okay. So you can see it. You can see it. You can see it. You can still see it. And then boom, it just disappears, right? And that way, even if you're not using these super thick magnets, you know, it'll still stick wonderfully. For the most part, these magnets, this size that I just showed you, and I can show you, I can actually put it down and it's fine. See how it's not sticking to the surface? And you can also use that as like a way of feeling. You know, frankly, I think it should be down a tiny bit more because I can feel it. Yeah, I can still feel it. I can feel it and I can hear it. But regardless, this is going to stick beautifully to the bottom of your magnetized case. And then once you're done, like, you know, you don't want to leave it like that because the glue might drip down and then you might have it stuck to your desk or something like that. You can just leave it back there, you know? Honestly, I do this all the time. I have never had an issue. If you're worried about it, put a paper towel underneath it or something like that and you're fine. Last point to make is, you know, this size and thickness of magnet works wonderfully. Where is it? Once again, that's the 1/4 by 1/16. I might have said 1/4 or something crazy earlier, so who knows? Just to show it again, these ones work really great for most minis, unless you're working with metal. If you're working with metal, you might want to put more than one on. You might want to go to a bigger size. I do go to the bigger size of the 3/8 by 1/16. So that's the same thickness, which is more than thick enough, frankly. But this extra surface area with the 3/8 is, man, it's if you put it next to where it's going, where the metal surface that it's going to be sort of sticking to, right at the bottom of the base there, it's going to be, you can't, like, I did a bunch of my Grim Gas Reapers the other day, and you can't pull them off by the top of the Mini because the magnet is so strong. And that's what you want. You don't want to have to worry about it. If you see my the video where I made my magnetized case, you'll notice I shake the bejeebers out of that case, and none of the minis move one iota. And it's because, like, you have to do a good job of getting the magnet near the surface of the metal. So anyway, I hope this has helped. If you have any questions, I am always happy to answer anything I can. Just shoot me a comment, and yeah, and I'm going to link the video on how to make the magnetized case. The one thing I would change about the magnetized case is I would no longer personally use hot glue. I used hot glue. The case still works fine. I just transported a bunch of Skaven minis, which are like half pewter, to a game. I had no issues with the case, with the glue, with the magnets, or anything. But I would now just say, why not use epoxy? It's just so much better. It's a little bit more money, but it's so much better. It doesn't dry in like 30 seconds like the hot glue does, etc. So other than that, honestly, I would still do the exact same thing. I still use it. It's a great case. So yeah, I hope this has been helpful. I plan on making more videos. I was just thinking yesterday, I've got a bunch of sort of tips for airbrushing and stuff. Stuff that's out of the ordinary, like not how to zenithal highlight, but like how to clean your, I've got a bunch of tips and tricks for like cleaning an airbrush and stuff like that I've sort of got stored up in my memory banks, but I didn't have a good camera, and it's just hard to, as you can see, my YouTube making desk is also my painting desk, and if one thing is convenient, the other is not. So that's why I was sort of few and far between for making videos, but I plan on making lots more. So hopefully you'll subscribe, comment, like, and do all that nonsense, which everyone tells you to do and you're sick and tired of hearing. So thanks again for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.